What have you seen from Tennessee, watching film?
Big old line, really talented at skill spots. Quarterback, transfer from Virginia Tech, big guy, So I mean, they have a lot of weapons, and then you add to that, they're the fastest team out there. They run more plays on average than anybody. So, we got to play well, right? We got to get lined up. We got to get the call, and we got to be ready to roll at a fast pace. And so we're trying to simulate that as best we can in practice. At the same time, get our conditioning level where it needs to be. But it's going to be a big-time challenge, there's no doubt.
You coached in the SEC. Just talk about what that league brings and the chance to measure yourself against that conference.
Well, it's a great league. I put it, right up there with the Big Ten. Not quite. I'd say the SEC probably from top to bottom has more speed. Both leagues have great linemen on both sides of the ball. So it certainly will be a challenge. And I don't know where they finished in the SEC, but they had a good season. The games they lost to some outstanding teams. So it'll be a big-time measuring stick for us in terms of going out and stepping up to the plate and performing like we know we're capable of performing. But it'll be a big test for sure.
Why did Branson Dean have the kind of year that he had?
I just think that, he's just making that progression, like you like to see in all your players. He loves football. I think our scheme allows him to be more aggressive and take advantage. He's not the biggest guy, but he's going to play with really, really good technique. And, he's a guy that when people were putting 2 and 3 guys on George, he made some plays, when they were single blocking him. So, but I think it's the fact that he's an older guy at this level, and he's making that natural progression, just playing, his best football in his later years, and I think he'll stay on that same track, no doubt.
You don't have George for the bowl game. Yep. How do you guys adjust and adapt to that?
Well, next man up, right? So, Jack Sullivan will slide into that spot. He's played both to the field behind George and into the boundary, and like I say, it's just next man up. We've got a lot of guys that played a lot of football for us, and if you sit there and you listen to the noise on the outside, I'm sure people are saying, well, they're not going to play as well, and they don't have Karlaftis, they can't get pressure. We've got to go out there and prove them wrong. And that's the challenges of college football. You don't have everybody for an extended period of time, right? There's a finite amount of time, and then guys leave, and we wish George the best. Selfishly, I'd love to coach George one more game, but he's made the decision that's best for him, and like I say, we all support him and are very appreciative of what he's done for Purdue football. But we've got to look at who we are today. And I say, there's no doubt in my mind that our guys will step up and be ready to play.
What's the status of the other end position right now with DeMarcus and Kydra Jenkins? Are they going to be healthy enough for the game?
That's the expectation. Yeah, both guys have been out there working for us. And I will say this, I think this was practice number 5 today, and we've had pretty good practices so far. We gave them some time off there the week after the Bucket game. And then started easing back into it last week and had our first couple of practices. But these guys have been coming out. And again, the thing that you can't simulate is really how fast Tennessee's going. So at the same time, we're trying to just try to work as much tempo as we can. And at the same time, get conditioning in. What you don't want to let slip is your conditioning base, after a long season. So we're trying to get that where it needs to be. And like I said, so far so good. We've had pretty good work.
Mark, you think we'll see Dante Hunter and Corday Sidner?
We'll see. Dante's coming off a pretty significant Achilles injury. Still knocking the rust off. Corday for sure. Corday played in some games for us, and so the plan right now is definitely Corday, and we'll see how Dante continues to progress. I say pretty significant Achilles, but he's out here working, and like I said, trying to knock that rust off and get back in the groove that he was in this past spring.
You're probably going to need 8 linemen to rotate, aren't you?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, we'll have guys to do that for sure.
And back to George, Mark. You've coached a long time, coached a lot of players. Just kind of put in perspective, give us an idea of maybe where George rates and how special he was.
Well, again, I see what these other guys that have come before George have gone on to do at the next level. So, to say that George is just like Ryan Kerrigan, or he's got this quality that Anthony Spencer had, or Roosevelt Cole, whatever. We've had a ton of great players here, right? He's got some qualities, I think, of all those guys. But again, will he end up having the same career as those guys? Time will tell. But I know this: it's really, really important to George. And in my short time with him, from middle of January, to where we are today, he invested everything in being the very, very best football player that he could be day in and day out. And to me, in almost 30 years of coaching, he's the best I've been around, just in terms of just everything that he does, from his sleep to the nutrition to taking care of his body to studying the game, studying himself, studying his opponent, the extra work after the lift, staying extra after practice. He's the best I've ever been around. Is that going to guarantee anything in the NFL? No. But I know he's got a lot of God-given ability. I know what he brought to the table for us this year. You can't measure it, right? You can't measure. Certainly can't look at the stat sheet, because it goes well beyond the stats. And he had 2 or 3 guys on him every play. Never complained about it. Just went back out there, went to battle, went to work, and so his impact was felt in a lot of ways. But I would just say, because I've gotten that question before, who does he compare you the most to? I would say a Ryan Kerrigan. But again, Ryan, he played his full 4 years here, right? So his explosiveness and his power were really at another level when he ended up getting drafted, in the first round by Washington. So, but that's probably the guy I would say he resembles the most.
Can you talk a little bit about the guys that just signed? Joe Strickland in particular, Mo, Monaday, Nick Carraway, JPD, to those guys?
Really liked that group, obviously. Joe Strickland was a guy that I'd known for a long time, had him in camp, way back when I think he was going into his sophomore year. And he was a heavily recruited guy even when I joined the staff in January. Purdue had invested a lot of time. And so it's great to get him on board. He'll play to the strong side, he'll play to the field in Georgia's position. But really excited. He's coming in mid-year. But he's a highly, highly dedicated guy. Again, wants to be a great player. And then he's doing it off the field as well in the classroom. Very, very smart young man. So excited certainly about Joe. And then Nick Carraway, I got to know a little bit when I was at Texas, and Nick's from the Bryan College Station area, where I lived for 3 years, and my wife and a couple of my daughters are currently finishing up school down there. So I've known Nick. I think Nick's going to be a dynamite Leo for us. He's that guy that's really played linebacker as well as defensive line there at Bryan. I think he's just an explosive football player, strong, loves to play. So that's kind of where we got him penciled in. I think we got a couple future good inside guys, and Mo and Monaday here at West Lafayette, and then JP Dieter down at Manville. So I like Mo and JP a lot, but to be able to come in and play inside, there's got to be a little bit more development along the way. Good thing is both those guys are coming in mid-year. And I think Mo took his visit here last weekend. He's almost at 280 right now. I think maybe actually weighed 280 after a couple meals last weekend. So, but the thing I love about Mo is he's a wrestler. He's got elite explosiveness. We were able to work him out this summer. He gets nickel and dime because he's not real tall. But to me, inside, you don't need to have that elite length. He's got natural leverage, and as a wrestler, I think he'll use it to his advantage. JP's just a good, hard-nosed, get-after-it football player. And like I say, as he develops and gets bigger and stronger, I think he'll be really, really good in our system here. So excited about all 4 guys. We're not done, We still could add another piece or two as we work into second semester in January and toward that second signing period in February. So, but I think the group coming in, this 22 class, can really be a great foundation for years to come.